Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined as always by the man who wants to wrap this up very quickly as he's missing his aerobics class and his core needs to flow. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very, very good. I finished my couch to 5k last week, so my core is, I think, probably flowing more than it's ever flowed.
Fantastic. Do you feel better for it?
I do. Yeah, I feel really good. So my plan now is, so I ran 5k 3 times last week, with a wee cheeky 3k is thrown in there as well. My plan is to do sort of 5k twice a week, and then on the last run, see how far I can push past 5k, because I want to be doing 10Ks by the end of the summer. So
okay.
That's my plan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good, man. Very good. Well, we'll be up Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
So,
which sounds like a euphemism, but I can assure you it definitely isn't. Did you ever play, when you were a youngster, did you ever play the Ninja Turtles game on the Nintendo, like the original Nintendo?
Yes, of course I did, yeah.
Right.
It was absolutely fucking nails.
Right.
The underwater missions were the worst.
So the other day, I bought for the PlayStation the Cowabunga collection, which is basically all the Japanese developer Konami's Turtles games. So everything from that one that we just mentioned to like the arcade game, Turtles in Time, even like Game Boy Turtles games are on there. So I thought to myself, because there's some features with these, sometimes when they remaster these games, they put in some features that allow you to kind of rewind live. So if you fuck a bit up, you can just rewind it and try again instead of losing a life or something. So I thought, just about an hour ago, I thought, you know what, I've not played that Turtles game in fucking, must be over 30 years. It can't be as difficult as I remember. And I've got that, rewind function if I get into like a tight spot. Mate, it is fucking rock hard still. It's so hard. Like, my daughter was like, because I was playing it, I was like, God, no! For goodness sake! And she's like, why don't you just play something else? I was like, no, I'm good to beat this game. She said, did you ever beat it when you were a kid? And I said, I never did. But then I remembered just a minute ago, do you remember the Game Genie for the Nintendo? That was like a sort of a kind of cheats cartridge thing you could plug into your game. I remember a kid having that, which basically made you invincible, and I played through Ninja Turtles.
But is it any fun if you're cheating though?
No, well, it was just to see what happened at the end, really, because like I did get quite far in it. Like I got quite far in it honestly, but dishonestly, I had to use that Game Genie to finish it.
Yeah, cheating's no fun, man. Come on.
No,
but you need to do it properly.
But some of these old games are fucking, they're
rock. Nails, yeah.
Like absolutely rock hard.
Yeah, I remember that Turtles game especially was like really difficult. Especially, as I say, the underwater missions, they were just absolute fucking nail.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, so I may have more news about that in future episodes. And I know nobody tunes in to hear my opinions on video games, but maybe they should, because I've got a lot of opinions on video games.
All right. Okay.
But anyway.
So we've moved on from Greg's running club update, and we're now on Greg's video game update. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Greg's emotional breakdown playing a 35-year-old video game. Anyway,
good. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you've been using your time productively. I'm doing something very Scottish this evening. We're recording today. I am off to go and see Belle and Sebastian tonight at Amsterdamse Bos, which is like this big outdoor amphitheatre. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
get a little bit of Scottish culture on the go. Go and see Belle and Sebastian.
I'm a wee bit jealous, to be honest. Are you going to wear that t-shirt that you're wearing now?
I might do. It's a Belle and Sebastian t-shirt, it's my Scotland's for me. Yeah, it's a Belle and Sebastian t-shirt. Although it's a little bit tight, I think, so I'll wait and see. I might not wear it. Well, because it's a Belle and Sebastian t-shirt. So as we discussed a couple of episodes ago, or on last episode, I can't wear this because I can't wear a t-shirt of the band to the band I'm going to see. So no, I'll have to change.
But then I don't. Yeah, but do you think the average Belle and Sebastian fan would recognise it to be an old tour concert, an old tour T-shirt?
Yeah, I think they would.
They think they would. Even the average Dutch Belle and Sebastian fan?
Probably not, no. But if they were a proper Belle and Sebastian fan, they would know that this is a Belle and Sebastian T-shirt. So yeah, I'll maybe give it a miss.
You'll have to tell us all about it on the next episode then.
I will do. Yeah, of course. In fact, we didn't even discuss. I meant to ask you before we're recording. Are we recording next week, or are we doing it the week after when we get back from our Edinburgh trip?
No, let's record. Well, if it's okay for you, let's record next week. I've got a film for the next one, so that's so.
Okay, right. Shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the last couple of weeks in Scotland that has caught your eye and you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Well, I chose this one really just so I could do the accent. As we mentioned in the last episode a couple of weeks ago, the news is sort of full of Scotland's European adventure, the Scotland football team, that is, and Taylor Swift being in Murrayfield. So this is stories about an American Taylor Swift fan who travelled all the way from America to Edinburgh to watch Taylor in action. So the headline reads, "Drunk Taylor Swift fans can ruin Eras tour, claims US TikToker." So an American TikToker who initially loved seeing Taylor Swift in Edinburgh has suggested that drunk fans can ruin the tour. Stephanie Matto warned people not to go to other gigs and criticised people in the audience who had drunk too much. The Swiftie has been following the singer across her tour and was left disgruntled after the show in Edinburgh, reports Edinburgh Live. Stephanie said on TikTok, "I just went to the Eras tour in Edinburgh, Scotland. And I don't think you should go there. I know people online are romanticizing the Eras tour, saying it's incredible and it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen. But I'm here to burst that bubble. First of all, do not go to the Eras tour if you do not like standing. Even if you purchase a seat, odds are you'll be standing the entire evening. And this show goes for 3 hours. But you're going to be standing for over 3 hours because the person in front of you is going to be standing. And if you want to sit down, you aren't going to be able to see. Another reason you shouldn't go is if you want to hear Taylor Swift sing. Because yes, you're going to hear her sing at the show, but you're also going to be hearing 70,000 other people screaming her songs along with her. It's kind of like a Taylor Swift concert / sing-along. I don't know if Stephanie's ever been to a concert before. It's probably her first time.
Especially not in Scotland.
Well, she's sort of like describing all the virtues of going to see your favourite singer or band live. She then added, "You're not going to enjoy yourself with the Eras tour if you're someone who doesn't enjoy alcohol. I noticed so many people who had drunk way too much. They were either passed out or outside of the arena or were being escorted out. If you're claustrophobic, germophobic, and can't stand waiting in lines, honestly, I don't think the Eras tour is for the faint heart. Maybe it's okay if somebody's a stay-at-home Swiftie." So basically, when you and I were more regular concert goers, she's just described all the things that we enjoyed about going to concerts. Singing along, get singing along, getting smashed.
Getting thrown out for crowd surfing.
Getting thrown out for crowd surfing.
Fucking ocean colour cunts. Yeah, that's a concert. I mean, okay, I'm going to a concert this evening. It's not going to be like that, I would imagine, because I'm going to see Belle and Sebastian, so it's not going to be like a hardcore kind of everyone up and jumping around and stuff. But yeah, that's the whole point of a concert. That's what makes it.
It's the atmosphere, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a few concerts recently, and I'm obviously older now, so I kind of tend to stand at the back and just observe, and I like to have a good view of the stage and see the band. But yeah, back in the day when I was younger, I remember seeing Public Enemy at the music hall in Aberdeen and being in the front row, and Flava Flav give me a high five, and I was just fucking crushed up against the barrier, but it was fucking amazing. That's how I do. Whereas nowadays, I would probably just stand at the back and watch from afar.
I mean, when you mentioning seeing Public Enemy reminded me of when we saw the Wu-Tang Clan at Tina Park in 2004. Yeah. I mean, and I remember us were starting off pretty close to the front.
We're about 3 or 4 rows in the front, weren't we?
Yeah. I think we sort of got maybe funneled back a little bit as the show went on a wee bit, maybe, but we were still, for the whole thing, really close to the stage. You know what I mean? Which was cool, seeing those guys up front and things. I remember, I was sort of thinking about Stephanie's comments there. I remember going to see the Manic Street Preachers in the Barrowlands in the kind of mid-90s, and I can't remember if they were touring Gold for the Soul or Holy Bible. But you know, the Barrowlands, like, the ceiling is very low. It's not like a big open air stadium like Murrayfield, obviously. It's a fucking dance hall. And people were going fucking mental. I mean, it was like humid in the room by the time they had finished, just with the sweat of pogoing and dancing and jumping Mannix fans. I mean, like, intense, but it was... I remember leaving I remember being at it and thinking, I don't know how comfortable I am here, but then sort of coming out into the sort of night air after the concert, just absolutely buzzing. And they would have played for like an hour. It's not even like, it's like a long sort of 3-hour Taylor Swift concert. I imagine probably played for like an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. I can't quite remember. That was sort of 30 years ago, but.
My first ever gig at the Barrowlands, I was 15 years old and I went to see White Zombie at the Barrowlands, and that was just fucking carnage.
I can imagine.
It was amazing, but it was fucking carnage. It was wonderful. What a gig. But yeah.
White Zombie. My first one was Soul Asylum at the Barrowlands, which was maybe about a year before that Mannix concert. And so imagine seeing Soul Asylum and I still really like them, but I fucking really liked them back then. So it's all this swaying, is that sort of thing, and cheering and stuff, and then the Mannix, when they're sort of going through their first 2 or 3 albums worth of stuff, like before Everything Must Go, when they became a bit sort of anthemic, but I mean, like great kind of punky fast stuff and all that. It was just, it was like being in a different venue. It really was.
I can imagine. It must have been incredible. Fucking hell.
Yeah. And we'll be seeing them again in just a week and a bit.
We will. Yes, we will. Yeah. Certainly will be. It'll be a bit more subdued, I think, at Edinburgh Castle. I don't know if I'll get thrown out for crowd surfing.
Well, I think I've seen the Mannix live more than I've seen any other bands. I saw them at the Barrowlands. I saw them at Tina Park in 1996. I saw them at the SECC at the concert you were supposed to come down for, but then you weren't able to come. You were hernia or something like that. I can't remember. And then I can't remember.
I think I had a job interview, I think.
Oh, yeah. Probably. And then, this will be the 4th time then that I've seen them.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'd say the band I've seen most... Well, I've seen the Mannix. I think I've seen them 3 times. This will be the 4th time I've seen them. The band I've seen the most is probably Supergrass.
Oh, really? They're good live. Yeah. I've only seen them once. They're really good.
I think I've seen them about 8 times. Wow. Just been to a couple of gigs, and then a couple of random, like they were supporting someone one gig, and then it was V99, I think, or V2000. I think it was Kula Shaker were meant to play, but they pulled out, and then Supergrass stood in for them, and I was like, fuck it. Brilliant. This is better. Fuck Kula Shaker. This is a lot better. It's Supergrass.
Kula Shaker were also a good live band back in the day, but they not as enduring as Supergrass.
They were playing Amsterdam in a few weeks, and I looked and I was like, I might go and see Kula Shaker, and then I was like, it was like something like €50 a ticket, and I'm like, I don't like Kula Shaker that much to pay that. Like, fuck that. Like,
50.
No. Where are you getting off on that? Charging that? Like, I think in late August, I'm going to see, or October, I'm going to see Camera Obscura, and they were charging like €32 a ticket. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Where did Kula Shaker get off paying fucking €50 a ticket? That's obscene.
Brilliant. Well, anyway, that's Stephanie. This accent is, I will admit, has hurt my throat a little bit. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be all right. What's your first story this week?
Well, I don't want to dwell on Scotland at the Euros, Greg. Obviously, it was a bit of a disaster, so we're not going to really speak about that. But, however, this is from the Scottish Sun last week. a smart-thinking Tartan Army businessman brought a little bit of Scotland to Germany by punting bottles of Buckfast in the Cologne party zone. Alan Sheridan, 30, from Bells Hill, Lanarkshire, shipped in a haul of the famous tonic wine loved by his fellow Scots ahead of the crunch match against Switzerland. So obviously you can tell, this was like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He set up shop just yards from the Alter Markt, where the steady stream of foot soldiers couldn't resist splashing some euros on this sweet plonk. Alan, who runs an exterior cleaning firm, Aquaforce, said they've been selling like hotcakes. He added, I've come all the way to Germany to try and keep the nation hydrated, but with fucking Buckfast.
Yeah.
They've been going well. I've sold a few cases, and we'll hopefully get rid of the rest today. We bought about 50 cases, and we travelled 1,500 miles in a van. Alan and his dad even had custom-made t-shirts saying, no Buckfast, no party. And had a price of 20 euros a bottle. And it's fucking half bottles. He's charging 20 euros for a half bottle of Buckfast. He added, we've got a t-shirt to match, and we even got a wee bit of advertising as well. One chuff fan who purchased 2 bottles for 10 euros each jokingly told Andy, you're no a daft cunt, are you? Alan added, we're going to the game tonight, so hopefully it'll be 2-1 Scotland. I've got disappointing news for you, Alan. It ended 1-1. It comes as Tartan Army Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. It's all about Scotland, and the rest is about...
I just love how everybody's predictions for Scotland's 3 games. Nobody ever said, I think Scotland will win 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. It was always, we'll concede at least a goal. You know what I mean?
Of course. We're always like, we're gonna concede, we're gonna lose, or I think it'll be a draw. It'll be 2-1. Yeah, it'll be fine. So it's Alan who took a caseload of. He basically packed his van full of Buckfast, drove to Germany, and sold it for fucking 20 euros a bottle. Fair play, Alan. That's great little business acumen there.
Entrepreneurial spirit. And he managed to get a plug in for his cleaning company in the article as well.
He certainly did, yeah, he did. I mean, I would think that is probably illegal, selling alcohol on the street without a licence in Germany. But,
it probably is.
But I guess he got away with it, I wish I'd thought of that, to be honest. I could have got a van, driven to Scotland,
you could
loaded up with Buckfast, then driven to Germany. You
could have got a van, you could have driven it to Italy, you could have filled it with Tenant Super, driven it to Germany.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, damn it. That would have been a lot closer as well. Damn it. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Shit. That would have been a brilliant,
So, warm, I assume at best ambience, but most likely warm Buckfast on a sunny day in a foreign country. I mean, I know the Scotland fans have been like praised just for generally being a good sort of factor of the Euros in Germany. I've seen a lot of really positive press from like the towns and cities that they went to for the games. But I've also seen videos of some Scotland fans who are absolutely banjoed. Like, literally, I saw one of a guy trying to cross the road, and this guy in a sort of mopedy motorbike thing stops to let him cross the road, and he sort of turns and walks right into him and knocks him and his bike over. I'm just like, oh, come on. And all this pal can do is piss himself laughing, and all his other pal can do is hold his phone steady to record it.
The best fans in the world, mate. We're the best fans in the world. Of course we are.
Of course we are.
But I saw that clip as well. Yeah, it was beautiful. But yeah, we had a good time. We were voted best fans, and I've seen a lot of stuff online of Germans on Reddit and stuff saying like, can we adopt you? Like, can you come here every year? Like, we'd love Scotland. I sent you that thing about the woman that shouted to a guy, "Oh, nice skirt," and then he flashed her. She was like, "Was this offensive? Did I say something wrong?" Or and everyone's like, "No, that's just Scots for you."
He was probably going to flash you anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think as Steve Clark said, just enjoy the ride. It's, I think for the fans, nothing can match their optimism. I think, and their expectations are, I would imagine that collectively the Scotland team does its best, and the other expectation is we're going to have a fucking right good time when we're here.
I think it was summed up for me. I think there's a new wave of fans, because it summed up for me after the Hungary game. There was a clip on Sky Sports or something, and there was a younger, I say younger, like he must have been in his mid-20s, Scotland fan, and he was fucking angry. Like, he was like, I paid 10 grand to come here, and we've got fucking, we played shite, it's a fucking disgrace, Steve Clark out. And then it pans round to a guy in his 50s who is your typical Tartan Army. He's got the hat with the feather in, and he's got his kilt on and stuff. And he's like, I had a fucking great time. Like, I don't care. Like, it's been fucking brilliant. I fucking love it. Like, best fans in the world. You're like, okay, that's the generation that the Tartan Army is. Whereas now I'm wondering if there is a new generation that is kind of now, okay, not actually happy with the results of this. It's more about the results than the
probably.
partying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's always been a few people like that amongst the travelling support. Like, the thing is, like, when we were kids, certainly in my lifetime, like from 1978 until 1998, Scotland qualified for every tournament apart from the one in America, the '94 World Cup. But they were always, like certainly in the '80s, always qualified, and I don't think they missed the World. I don't think they missed the World Cup in the '70s. I know England missed the '74 World Cup. I think they missed that one, didn't they? They didn't qualify, but I feel like Scotland qualified for every World Cup in the '70s. I'm not sure.
England missed 78 as well, didn't they?
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
That's the whole point of Ali's Tartan Army. Because England can't do it because they didn't qualify.
Oh,
we're on the march with Ali's Army.
Of course.
To the Argentine.
Yes, that's right. Poor Ali. Poor Ali McLeod. He was fucking perhaps built up a wee bit too much by everybody and maybe himself.
Yeah, I think just a wee bit. Yeah, I mean, the fact the song will really shake them up when we win the World Cup because Scotland are the greatest football team, and then we got fucking gubbed by Peru.
Yeah.
Fucking Paddington Bear fucked us.
Oh dear.
Well, never mind. Okay, Greg. What else have you seen this week?
Well, moving away from Scotland's disappointing performance in the Euros and Taylor Swift for something a bit more Swally-centric. So this comes from the Scottish Sun on the 24th of June. Headline reads, Strong Pong, Scott City named the second smelliest in the UK. So a company called Alternix have analysed the number of odour complaints submitted to councils across the country between January the 1st, 2021 and February the 29th, 2024. Researchers found Birmingham to be the most stinky city, with an average of 50 smell complaints made per month by local residents. Ranking in second is Glasgow, with 1,420 complaints average made to the local authority. A staggering 39% of complaints in Glasgow were made due to smoking. Edinburgh came in at number 12 with 680 complaints. So David Phillips of Alternix said, smoking can be unpleasant for those around you, and there's particular concern in Glasgow with 547 complaints pertaining to the use of cigarettes between the 1st of January 2021 and the 20th of February 2024. This comes days after tourists were hit with a terrible stench at a popular Scots beauty spot. Because of a nearby landfill site. It's Auchencarach, just minutes away from Loch Lomond. So the reason I picked this story is because I remember in Glasgow, and I think it's still the case, certain days of the week, so like the Tennant's factory, which is quite close to the city centre, but I think on a Friday, just due to the process of making the delicious lager, the East End will absolutely stink of booze.
Yeah.
And then my auntie used to work at a whiskey distillery in Port Dundas, and it just always... It doesn't. I think the distillery's gone now, but it used just I used to hate the smell because, I mean, I don't know, did you ever get taken in just to go and visit people at their work when you were wee? We used to do it all the time. Just be passing by, Mum would go in and see your Auntie Jean at her work. She'd be sitting in her office on the floor or something like that, and I'd be like, oh no, it fucking stinks in there.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I guess that's not a thing nowadays, but yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it's all the time. I used to go up to...
Yeah. My uncle worked at the Sunblest factory in Aberdeen, and my other uncle we go out for a walk. Oh, let's go in and see George at the Sunblest factory. He's fucking making white loaves, and hey George, how's it going? Yeah, right. I've totally never thought about that, but you're totally right.
Yeah, all right, but I would get taken up to say my granda would be fitting a carpet in somebody's house. My dad would be, I think your papa's up there fitting a carpet. Mum will go up and see him. Chap the door, and the owner would ask, oh, is Tam here? Yeah, he said, come on in, get a cup of tea. Watch my papa fitting a carpet. Anyway.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen nowadays, would it? Like, fucking hell.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think the world was a much more convivial place. I'm a bit concerned about how in a food production facility you could just wander in.
Yeah, a fucking 6-year-old boy can just wander in. I've been probably playing in the grass and probably been scratching my arsehole or something. I'm away in a Sunblest factory. Somebody's white loaf is probably contaminated with my... Anyway, no, I'm not going to go there.
I think the legislation is a lot... Well, I know the legislation's a lot stricter now than it was back then.
I think so, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, so that was my second story. Short but sweet. What's your second one this week?
My second story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is, Lick It Up. A Scottish councillor was forced to issue a bizarre apology after he was caught licking out of his bowl during a work call. Councillor Brian Pottinger was taken to task for eating on camera during a Midlothian council meeting last month. Provost Debbie McCall reprimanded the councillor, alleging he was licking out of his bowl whilst eating after being asked to turn off his camera. The Labour councillor apologised to Councillor McCall yesterday, claiming he was in need of some food due to low blood sugar. It occurred during a debate about Midlothian's capital prioritisation plan in May. Councillor Virgo lost his focus while speaking to the chamber due to Councillor Pottiger's eating, saying, Brian's eating cereal there. Delightful. It led to Provost Councillor McCall demanding that Councillor Pottinger switch off his computer camera after telling him his behaviour was absolutely inexcusable. At the meeting in May, Provost Councillor McCall said, that was really inappropriate, Councillor Pottinger. I just put a message in the group to say, if you could turn your camera off, we don't want to see you eating. And you looked like you were licking out your bowl. That is absolutely inexcusable. I do not expect behaviour like that from a councillor. Please turn your camera off. Edinburgh Live reports that Councillor Pottinger attended the meeting remotely and apologised. He said, I'd like to apologise for the error I made that I was seen eating when I was on camera. I felt it was necessary at the time due to some subsidence and my blood sugar levels were getting low. I did consume a scone along with a hot beverage. When Councillor Virgo alerted me to the fact that my camera was on, in his usual humorous manner, I did not mean to upset anybody or to offend anybody with my actions. I did move to put my camera off, but obviously I didn't move fast enough. They wee small buttons we have here in front of me were too small. He added, I've explained my actions to some others previously and apologised accordingly. I'm sorry for what I've done. I now want to express my apologies to Councillor Virgo and the whole meeting. It was never done with any deliberate attempt to offend or upset anybody, and I hope the meeting can accept my apologies. Councillor Debbie McCall replied with the apology saying, Thank you, Councillor Pottinger. I think we are quite happy to accept your apologies and will say no more about it. Now, this is where it gets a little bit dark.
Oh.
Last year, Councillor Potaker was cleared by the Standards Commission over a complaint about alleged inappropriate comments about a female councillor's underwear. He told a meeting that he did not mean to offend anyone during his appearance. The Sunday Mail reported earlier this month that the 65-year-old was banned from the council's headquarters in Dalkeith. He was alleged to have made a comment to a teenage cleaner about her wrist skills whilst the pair were alone together in the committee room in Dalkeith. It was soon ended when fellow councillor Russell Imray returned to the room after forgetting something from an earlier meeting, the paper reports. It is understood he has been suspended by Scottish Labour whilst the probe is ongoing, but the party has yet to remove the whip. So, have you ever licked out of your bowl while you've been in a Zoom chat, Greg?
No, I can't say I have. I don't know, the sort of etiquette kind of is... I mean, I'm on quite a lot of Teams meetings. I think a drink is okay. I think food, especially food like a bowl of Rice Krispies or something like that, probably not accept, maybe unless it's something that you can sort of discreetly eat. You know, but I mean, I was wondering until you mentioned about his the other allegation against them. I was wondering how this made the news. Really, just man eats bowl of sugar puffs on Zoom call. You know, it's like it seems like more important things happen in the world. You know.
Well, that's why we have the Swally, Greg, that we report the nonsense stories that are in the press. But yeah, you're right. Obviously, he has been up to no good. Telling a teenage cleaner that she had good wrist action when she's mopping the floor. But yeah, it's not the done thing, really. Because obviously, I have a lot of kind of remote calls, and yeah, I wouldn't eat a fucking bowl of Cocoa Pops or something whilst I was on a call. Like, a cup of tea or something's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to be eating your breakfast.
I just had to laugh at him talking about the wee buttons.
The wee buttons, yeah. I couldn't get the wee buttons. They're too wee. I couldn't switch it off. I tried to mute myself, but I couldn't. It's, terrible shit. Never mind. Okay. Have you seen anything else this week, Greg?
Nope, that's all. That's all my Scottish news for this week.
Okay, right. Well, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsor. And our sponsor is, of course, Doric Skateboards, a skateboard brand created by Gary Kemp, whose main focus is to explore the people and the culture of Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, and to create designs that reflect life in that area. Doric Skateboards screen print their own decks in their studio by Gary's fair hand, and they have produced some amazing designs over the years, including an Annie Lennox-inspired board, a Robert the Bruce deck, and a Plenty of Pop deck inspired by the old Bonaccord trucks that used to drive around Aberdeen delivering fizzy drinks. Doric Skateboards also replicate these amazing designs onto clothing on 100% organic cotton tees, hoodies, sweatshirts, and you can also fill your boots on stickers, pin badges, beanies, and caps. Gary regularly collaborates with local artists to ensure that he brings the latest designs to the market, but always with a Doric twist, including the Ballater Toy Shop design, inspired by Scotland the What, which we actually need to cover quite soon, Greg. So check out Doric Skateboards for yourself on doricskateboards.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at Doric Skateboards to see all the amazing designs on offer. And we are delighted to be able to offer you 15% off as listeners to this podcast. All you need to do is head to doricskateboards.com, have a look at all the amazing decks, stickers, badges, hoodies and tees on offer, and enter the promo code SWALLY. That's SWALLY, same as the name of this podcast, and get your 15% off. That's doricskateboards.com, link in the description of this episode.
Okay, Nicky, so I chose Tommy's Honour for the last episode of the Swally, which means that the bottle spins back to you. What are we talking about this week?
Thank you very much, Greg. Well, back in May 2023, on episode 74 of the Culture Swally. I mean, this is episode, 105, I think?
Yeah.
104. Back in episode 74, we looked at the first series of the adaptation of the Denise Mina novel, The Field of Blood. So I thought it was time to look at the second and final series of the show. Released in 2013 and adapted from the second Paddy Meehan novel, The Dead Hour, Series 2 is set in 1984, 2 years after the events of the first series, starring Jade Johnson, Ford Kiernan, David Morrissey, Matt Costello, Ron Donaghy, and Kestrel-loving David Heyman. The series is set against a backdrop of... in fact, he's a Bells lover in this episode. Set against the backdrop of the miners' strike and the changing face of 1980s journalism. Paddy Meehan now has her dreams set on a job as a roving news reporter, working alongside George McVie. But all this changes with the arrival of a new editor-in-chief, a no-nonsense woman in a man's world, determined to bring the newspaper into the modern age against editor Murray Devlin's wishes. So, Greg, we looked at Series 1 last year, and we have, so Series 2. Was this your first time watching Series 2 of Field of Blood, I presume?
Well, I'd actually seen the first episode of it when it was on the telly. Yeah, so like the first episode of this series I had seen, because I remembered Meehan and McVie arriving at the lawyer's house before she's murdered, and I remembered Meehan getting her Nat King Cole in the back of what looks like a Ford Cortina with DCI burns as well. So yeah, I remembered bits about it, but I'm not sure why I didn't make a point of watching the second episode of it when it was on the TV, because I thought, maybe when I watch the second episode I'll remember it. Maybe I have watched it before, but I definitely didn't, because that was the first time I'd definitely seen that second episode of this series, because there was nothing that I remembered from it, you know. So, but no, I enjoyed this one. I don't know if it's quite as strong as the first series, but it's certainly a good couple hours.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching this, and I did feel the same as you. It wasn't as good as the first series, I have to admit. There was a bit of a different dynamic, and I wonder if that's why they didn't do the third series, because it's a shame, because there are 3 Paddy Meehan novels.
Yeah.
So there's The Field of Blood, the Dead Hour, and The Last Breath, which is the last one, which was never actually adapted. But I did read about that, and that opens up with Paddy's ex-boyfriend, who is Terry, who was Jonas Armstrong's character in the first series.
Yep.
He's found dead, and he's left Paddy a country bolt hole, and there's some clues as to who might have killed him. So Paddy finds she feels bound to investigate the death, and effectively series 1 and 2 kind of combine in the third book,
right?
Because her cousin who got jailed for killing the kid in the first series, he gets released from jail, and the guys from series 2 are after her to try and kill her for thing. So
yeah,
it would have been great to have had a third series, but obviously never happened. So we'll never know what would happen.
I had about a theory on maybe why, because the first series was aired in 2011. This one didn't come out until 2013, so kind of 2 years later. So I wondered if maybe because they left such a big gap between both of the series, if maybe they just lost a wee bit of momentum, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did try to find out why the series was cancelled. As much as I could find out was an article in the Daily Mail from around about the time that the BBC was having a bit of a restructure of its sort of programming schedule and leadership and stuff like that, and there was the sort of suggestion that The Field of Blood was a bit of a casualty of that process, you know. So, but I think, because as I understand it, the first series was really, really successful, so you would imagine, right, well, let's get a second series into production as quickly as we can, you know? And then, you know, you would think that there might be more appetite for the third one, because people might have sort of forgotten a bit about The Field of Blood after 2 years, because everything else that would have been on in those 2 years, you know?
I wonder if a little bit of it was due to maybe budget constraints, because you can kind of see that in this series, because looking back on the first series, I think we mentioned quite a lot on the episode. In fact, even when I picked this last week, you said something about how the soundtrack was so good in series 1, and it was. Series 1 it had an amazing soundtrack, and a lot of that was relayed to the audience through Paddy on her headphones.
Yeah.
Every kind of episode, she was listening to music on her headphones. And that seemed to be really toned down in this. I think there's maybe 2 scenes that you see her with her headphones on. And I wondered if that was because, is it because Paddy's now a serious journalist and she doesn't have time to wear headphones? Or is it realistically due to budget constraints that they can't license the music? So they've had to kind of cut that back. Because there are a few bangers in this series, but not as much as Series 1.
No, I'd agree. And I think the thing that they haven't sort of sacrificed here, if there has been a budget issue, is the sort of set design and attention to detail. It feels very authentic, you know. There's some good places to shoot in Glasgow that haven't really had any attention for a long time, you know, which you could dress to look. But even like outside the Barrowlands, you know,
amazing.
But they sort of got it at an angle as such that it feels like, you know, and not just the shot, but also the lighting and the ambience and everything. It does feel very sort of winter in Glasgow in the 1980s, you know?
I think they've obviously moved on because, and I know we had an issue with the first series in terms of, and the character in the book, Paddy, is meant to be a rather overweight kind of girl. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even in Series 1, we had an issue. She is referred to at one point as the fat tart that makes the coffee. And you're like, Jade Johnson isn't fat in the slightest. Why is this? And I'm glad there was less emphasis of that. Like, if you remember back to Series 1, there was a whole point of her eating hard-boiled eggs all the time.
Yeah.
And there's literally like one reference to it, like, which is so well done when Ford Kieran's George, you know, he's like, are you still eating those? And then they have like a bit of a debate about him eating fish suppers and stuff.
You still eating them things?
You should lay off the fish suppers.
I've never had any complaints.
Really? Because for someone with a reputation as a lich, I've never actually seen you with a woman.
Appearances can be deceiving. There's been plenty, don't you worry. They're not exactly kicking your door in for a mad shag, are they?
Was it someone special? Is that it? Did she break your heart?
That's right. I'm like Humphrey McBogart. I'll always have Ross.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of well done that it was almost like a callback, but then it was left and not mentioned again, which I thought was carefully handled in this series.
Yeah, she seems to have got they seem to have like in the first series she was sharing a bedroom and a bed with her sister, and in this one the family seem to have a bigger house because she's got her own bedroom. And she in this one, I think. Is she?
No, she's still sharing with her sister, because she...
but they got two separate beds,
Yeah, two separate beds, but that's the first kind of scene. She comes in and she switches on the radio to listen about the
lawyer being murdered.
The lawyer being murdered,
No, I know. I mean, I think you read the first book, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I haven't read the second one though,
And I think I think I remember you saying that the book does make a lot of the fact that Paddy's supposed to be overweight and not very attractive and kind of frumpy and everything, right? So I wonder if I should really try and I've not read any of the books. I should really try and read them. But I wonder if maybe Denise Mina moves away from that a little bit, because if it's kind of 2 years on and she's been, you know, the first series has Paddy joining the newspaper as a kind of cub reporter and, you know, and making the tea and other stuff like that. This one, you know, she's kind of 2 years into her career. She's in the night car with McVie, played by Ford Kieran. They've got the radio. They're out sort of chasing stories, and then she expresses a desire in this one to get out of the news car and move into features, but also you get the feeling that she's sort of well established now at the newspaper. You know, she's sort of on the same level as the sort of like kind of Brian Pettifer's character and some of the other guys that work in the newsroom. You know, it's much more of an equal playing field, and she sort of gives as good as she gets.
Yeah, she has the respect of them, and I think you can see that with George's character, as you say, played by Ford Kieran. And I love the relationship they had, and I guess it's more of those two together. In this series, and I did love the scenes that they have together, and it's very much a case of he respects her, but he's not giving it away, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But there's lovely little moments when she gets the 50 quid, and he's like, look, just take it. You know, it's not a case of like, I will go halves. He's saying to her, just take it. Like, just take the money. And I think it's a lovely, and genuinely, I did not see that coming when George comes out the closet. Like, I was like, holy fuck. Like, didn't expect that. But it's so beautiful, that scene in the hospital when she's so worried about him and he confesses to her. He's like, because the character of George has been this lech in the office and always talking about skirt and stuff. And then it turns out he's gay. Yeah. And he's been with his partner Colin for 12 years. And I'm like, did not see that coming.
Who was your friend?
What?
A nice man came and dropped off some stuff for you.
Colin.
Is that your brother?
No.
Just a friend.
Did I say that?
You're not saying anything.
He's my partner, Paddy.
And what?
Leaf.
Your boyfriend. You kept that a secret?
Can you imagine what it would have been like working in there with that lot if they knew? They would have made my life a misery. They're not exactly in touch with their feminine side, are they?
Neither were you.
Well, that was an act. Why am I telling you this?
The drugs, probably.
Yeah, that's it. Just forget I said it. I'm delusional. I'm so drugged up I've woke up gay.
Again, it's so beautiful later on when he comes out to his colleagues. And they're not even arsed. They're sharing a bottle of At 69 and they're not even arsed about it. Like Brian Pettifer's character is like, oh, fuck it. Really is a red letter day. It's kind of like all right, fine. You're gay. Who gives a fuck? Which in 1984 in Glasgow, I don't think it would have went down that way.
No. And, you know, like, I didn't really feel the same way as you about that. I sort of wondered what the point was because they don't really... Like that, his coming out to Paddy after he's been blown up in the car. Like, it doesn't mean anything for the rest of the episodes apart from when he mentions it to Shug and the other guys in the newsroom. And it's like, well, I wonder why they felt the need to. It felt a bit shoehorned in to me, that because it doesn't really have any impact on the story, and it doesn't really change the dynamic between McVie and Paddy. You know, it's still sort of friendly, occasionally prickly. You know, he still sort of exerts his authority in certain situations as the older reporter, you know, and particularly towards the end when when Paddy rescues the lawyer's sister from Lafferty and the sinister Braces man. You know, and it's like, well, I just wondered, you know, you would think that, I thought when he tells her that he's gay, I thought, right, this is going to be part of the story somehow. You know, it's going to be important to the mystery that of the lawyer and the guy that's the other dead lawyer that's been found in the Clyde and the sister and all that sort of stuff. And it makes for a sort of light moment at the very end. When the guys are wondering if what's going to happen with the paper and stuff, you know.
Did you feel that this series, like, I found it was kind of lacking the charm of the first? Whether that's due to the lack of Capaldi, maybe, or I do feel that the plot of this series was a bit more overcomplicated. With the first series, it's about a dead kid and you know, Gab Mitchell in the ice cream van and stuff. And it's a lot more simple. Whereas this is, it's miners' strike and government are selling secrets and, you know, making up things. And it just felt a little bit overcomplicated and convoluted. And I was going to say it's heavier, but I mean, the first series is about the murder of a child, which is probably
as heavy as it gets,
the most heavy thing it gets. But I just felt like this series was lacking a bit. And I compared the Series 1 and Series 2. So you have the main cast. Obviously, we have Jay Johnson and David Morrissey and Ford Kiernan and Brian Pettifer. Great. But then, let me give you this. Let's compare Series 1 and Series 2, kind of guest actors, or you know what I mean, like kind of the people that are there. So Series 1, we have Derek Riddell, William Ruane, Jonas Armstrong, Peter Capaldi, Stephen McCall, and Gavin Mitchell. And series 2, we have Ron Donaghy, Michael Nardone, Stuart Martin, Amy Mason, Catherine Kelly, and he's in fucking 2 scenes. But he steals the fucking show for me. David Heyman, but despite David Heyman, the series 1 cast is a lot stronger in terms of you've got Riddell, Capaldi, McCall, Mitchell. It just seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? He's not credited in this, but when they're in the call car and there's a voice on the radio giving the instructions or thing, that's Gavin Mitchell, isn't it? He's not credited, but it sounds so much like Gavin Mitchell, but he's not credited, so I don't know, but it sounds just like Gavin Mitchell. But yeah, the Series 1 cast seems a lot stronger than the Series 2 cast, and I kind of felt you were kind of missing an element. You were missing the Doc. You're missing Capaldi's character. And I know he died in Series 1, but you're kind of missing that in the kind of wizened, is that a word? Kind of the wise old sage character. You miss that in this series, I think.
I think, what made the first series so enjoyable was that alongside the mystery of who killed the wee boy, they're introducing and developing all these characters. You know what I mean? So, time is taken to... Because we don't spend a great deal of time with Paddy's mum and dad in this. I think Matt Costello's only got maybe 2 scenes, or maybe 3. Whereas we spent a lot more time with them in the first series.
True.
We're expected to know Devlin. He's been established in the first series. McVie's been established in the first series. So, a lot of the charm that you mentioned, I think, came from rather getting to sort of know these characters a bit more intimately, alongside a really good mystery. Whereas this one, there's not really a mystery as such, because we know that the guy with the braces that they see at the house that gives them the bung has obviously killed them. We see him in Lafferty menacing the kind of fugitive sister and stuff, So and they sort of, with the introduction of Catherine Kelly's character, they sort of line up a bit of a red herring. Because, there's bits where you feel like, right, she's corrupt, she's intentionally wants to keep this out of the paper. But then it turns out that it's, she's trying to keep it out of the paper not because she's corrupt, but because she thinks that some sort of scandalous, sexy story or whatever will sell more newspapers. A more sort of tabloidy approach will sell more newspapers and things. So I don't think the story is, I don't think it's as strong as the first one.
No.
And maybe kind of coming back around to it again, maybe that's why they decided not to film the third series. And the thing is as well, the Dead Hour, it sounds like an old episode of Taggart, that title.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Really does.
I mean, it doesn't have anything to do, the title doesn't have anything to do with the mystery apart from the fact that 2 people are dead. You know what I mean? But, the hour isn't important to the story.
I do wonder, there is such a jarring difference of, okay, so if you look back at series 1, you had Doc, Peter Capaldi's character. He was kind of the wise old kind of sage and kind of he was Paddy's kind of
sponsor, really, wasn't he? He was the supporter.
Yeah. And if you look at the character of McVie, and if you look at the character of Devlin, Devlin's character is very different because he does describe her in the first series like the fat tart that makes coffee, and he is a little bit. He sees something in Paddy, but he's also quite standoffish and aggressive towards her. Yeah. Whereas in this, okay, it's 2 years later, but he's a very different character, and so's McVie. They're very different. They're more accepting kind of her, and I wonder if they've done that to try and replace the Capaldi's character in a way. And it was quite a jarring difference of those characters and a difference of the way they are. And introducing Catherine Kelly as Maloney, it was almost like, okay, we need a baddie, so let's bring her in. And don't get me wrong, Catherine Kelly she's great in this.
She's really good, yeah.
She's really good. And, I've seen her in quite a few things. She's been brilliant, but just kind of felt a little bit out of place in a way. Like, it's almost like, okay, you need to put a baddie in here because we need to have, McVie and Devlin as the good guys. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what Devlin does. He, becomes the good guy and kind of fucks her over and does the best thing. So it is almost like kind of, you need to have a baddie in there. So
I think you're right. You need to have somebody in the newsroom who is against everyone, who is the baddie, because in the first series, like, most of the newsroom and the staff in the paper are sort of against Paddy. Yeah. In this series, it's, apart from Shug, and even he turns out to be a good guy. Yeah. But he kind of is a bit of an antagonist, but a fairly benign antagonist. You need, like, to your point, that there had to be a baddie in there. And I like Catherine Kelly as well. And what I like about her is she's one of these sort of, because I know she was a really popular character on Coronation Street for years, and she's managed to leave soaps and do a lot of, like, really, really good drama, like, on TV. And kind of, I think sometimes these actors that have a successful soap career, they're never quite able to leave it behind. Like they go and try and do something and then end up coming back years later or not so many years later, unless they've been killed off or something. But even like with Leslie Grantham, he was killed off and they still found a way to get him back into EastEnders. You know what I mean?
Leslie Grantham.
Yeah, but, for her. Well, what?
I agree. I'm just laughing. You're using Leslie Grantham as a thing. I would have said, like, yes, Catherine Kelly. You've watched them Criminal on Netflix.
Yeah, she's really good in that.
She is incredible in that, and she is, I would say, one of the 3 actresses from Coronation Street that have gone on to bigger and better things. I would say Sarah Lancashire, obviously.
Yeah.
With Happy Valley, and a lot of other things. And Saran Jones has been wonderful as well. But yeah, I think Catherine Kelly's been a great too. But I wouldn't have thought fucking Leslie Grantham.
Oh, Leslie Grantham he went on to do, when he left EastEnders, he did some like sort of detective show. I can't remember what it was called.
Did he?
Spencer or something? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
No, Spender was Jimmy Dale.
Not Spender. I think, was it Spencer or something? That's, oh, fuck's sake. I won't go down to Leslie Grantham.
Did he? Really? Leslie Grantham did a detective show?
He did.
He murdered a German cab driver.
No.
Oh, no, that was actually what he did.
That's what he did in real life. Right, so let's see. EastEnders, The Paradise Club, he did with... which was a television crime drama series for the BBC, starring Dawn Henderson and Leslie Grantham as Frank and Danny Kane, siblings who inherit a nightclub from their mother. Ma Kane, who was the matriarch of a kind of criminal family. So he's, he had that, but then, of course, he did fuck all, and eventually somebody thought it'd be a good idea to stick him back in EastEnders.
And then he thought it'd be a good idea to wank on a webcam.
Exactly. Then everybody realised that it was a really bad idea. They should just have left him playing Captain Hook in the pantomime in Brighton or something like that, where he couldn't do anybody any harm.
So there's a mysterious red Mercedes that is following everyone around. Like, it takes them like halfway through episode 2 before they're like, wait a minute, this red Mercedes has been following us all around. Like, you're like, really? Come on. You've been fucking laying the breadcrumbs here the whole fucking 2 episodes. Yeah. Come on. That felt a little bit a stretch too far for me.
Well, the whole sort of conclusion is really unsatisfying anyway. Like, I know they leave a couple of cliffhangers, like, is Paddy pregnant? Looks like she is pregnant. She thinks she's pregnant. The newspaper is still, is it going to remain? Is it going to change? Whatever, are they all going to lose their jobs? But as far as the actual mystery, murder, etc., there's no real resolution. The only resolution that we get is that they published the story in the newspaper.
Yeah.
But then there's no consequences for the Braces guy. I suppose Lafferty gets shot in the head, so they're pretty severe consequences for him. But
he's dead.
But like, there's no kind of, there's no. You would expect there would be some justice, and there's not. And you could say, well, it doesn't have to follow the same tropes as a sort of British crime drama or whatever, and that's true. But this type of program, you think about the audience, the people who would be tuning in to watch it when it was aired. And like for me too, like you want a bit of resolution there. You know what I mean? You want.
Yeah.
There's some vindication. There's vindication for Devlin. There's vindication for Paddy, McVie, etc. But there's no justice for the baddies, apart from Lafferty. But it's baddie on baddie justice, which isn't as satisfying as the good guys kind of catching the bad guy in these crime dramas.
Do you know what really bothered me in this?
What?
And I feel terrible for saying it, because Jade Johnson, she's obviously in her early 20s.
Yeah.
She's in this. But it's just a spot on the left side of her chin. And you can tell that they filmed this out of sequence, because one scene it's there. Like, she's literally outside the police station, she's got a massive spot on her chin. Yeah. And then she goes inside the police station and it's not there. But then the next scene it's there again, and then the next scene is gone. And it really took me out of it. I'm like, oh God, like I can't. Yeah, it's so bad. Like, and I know it's early 20s. Obviously, she has a bit of acne. Like, and I'm not saying anything against that, but it was more continuity wise that it was just like, oh, she's got a big spot. Oh no, it's gone. It's back. It's gone again. Oh, it's back again. Oh no, it's gone. Oh. They obviously filmed this on the same day, because the spot's as big as it was in the 2 scenes ago. Really took me out of it.
But you would expect the production assistant, because they I'm sure. I mean, I don't know this for a certain, but I'm sure that there are people on productions like this who are responsible for continuity. I'm sure if you watch the credits for any sort of drama or movie, it's an actual role. What's sort of continuity producer or continuity assistant or something like that. Like, if that's the case, somebody's really dropped the fucking ball there.
Yeah.
Because it would be natural for Paddy to get the odd spot, because you have to remember.
Of course.
It's the 1980s, living in Glasgow. You know what I mean? She's living off working night shifts, probably living off Scotch eggs and hard-boiled eggs and stuff like that. Not getting a lot of like vitamin C in her diet. So like it's a nice little attention to detail to like stick a spot on her cheek. But if it's been Jade Johnson's own spot, you would think that with this, well, the last scene in this sequence, she didn't have a spot, so we need to like try and cover this up or something before we do this one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a little bit loose, shall we say?
I have to say, you mentioned earlier in terms of the family dynamic. So we have obviously Matt Costello as her dad and Brona Gallagher as her mum, and her sister is there as well. Yeah. And it kind of felt, in the first series, there was very much a family dynamic, where it kind of felt a little bit shoehorned in the second series. As you say, Costello's only in a couple of scenes. I didn't really appreciate or get the whole storyline with her sister off to go to, I guess,
a nun.
Lourdes to go and become a nun, or I didn't kind of really appreciate that. However, the last scene in the episode is probably one of the best acting I've probably ever seen with Brona Gallagher. When Paddy tells her she's pregnant, and just the silence and the crying and the tears in her face, but never mentions anything. And just the expression on her face is, my God, what a fucking powerhouse of a performance that scene is. And nothing said, but it's just epic. It's the best scene in the series for me.
She's a good actress, Brona Gallagher, and the thing is her face. I don't want this to sound unkind, but
she's got a sour face. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, sort of kind of pinched. Yeah, and she looks like she's probably like a sort of chain smoking, typical Irish, Scots-Irish woman of that time. Like the way they've got her hair sort of like kind of scraped back and everything, and her religion, which is obviously incredibly important to her, because she's really happy that her daughter's away to marry Jesus. Become a nun, be a bride of Jesus. But I mean, I actually saw her the other day. Pulp Fiction was on the TV, and I watched a bit of it. And I watched the scene with her when Uma Thurman's characters had the overdose and they're giving her the shot of adrenaline in the heart, and she's just sitting on the sofa like smoking a bong when it's all going on, and then the anticipation of what's going to happen is John Travolta holds up the syringe ready to get the needle through her through Uma's chest bone and inject her heart. And I mean, even in that, I mean, it's just hard to get anything to do. Very much a background character, especially. I think she's got a few lines when we see Vinny go to buy the drugs earlier on, when they're talking about piercings. But yeah, I don't know. She's a great actress, Brona Gallagher. She's particularly good in this. Like, I feel like she knows that character really well. Like she probably knows she's probably known lots of women like that character in her life, growing up in Ireland and stuff.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I think she's amazing in this. Like, she really does. And yeah, I funnily enough, I was looking up and saw her in Pulp Fiction, and I was like, oh fuck, yeah, I never realised that.
She's also in The Phantom Menace for about 2 minutes. She's like,
really?
She's one of the pilots of the ship that takes the Jedis to the robot, whatever, the separate. I can't remember. It's even more complicated than the Field of Blood. The Phantom Menace terms of the storyline, but takes Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson. She's one of the pilots. She gets blown up in the first couple of minutes.
I would love to have seen a third series, but I don't know. And it felt like it was in the works, because there was in 2013, Jay Johnson was doing press for this series, and she did say in an interview with the Daily Record that obviously, with it being 3 books, I hope it will continue and at least finish the story, but you never know how these things will be received, and we don't know if they what they'll want to do with the third. It's never a sure thing. Paddy's an amazing character, and to play her was so much fun, and to see her progress. I'd like to play her a little bit more confident and be sure of herself and take time finding her feet in the office. She's lost her puppy fat, so she is finding her style. She's kind of grown up. She's a young woman who is finding herself. And I wish we'd had a third series, but we just didn't. Like, it would have been nice to have the conclusion of it.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, she's sort of given up acting, hasn't she? Like, it seems like, because she's only got sort of 3 credits on her IMDb, like this, River City, and a Jerry Butler film called Dear Frankie, which I don't know if I've seen or not.
No, so this was the last thing she did.
Yeah, so I don't know why, whether she's. I mean, I sort of get the feeling that she maybe just decided to, have kids and have a bit of a more simple life. Maybe she'll come back to acting later on. But I think she lives in Canada, because we've got her on our Instagram.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's very good in this, and it's quite strange that you would have 2. Because I think this was quite well received, generally speaking. I think the Scottish press certainly got behind it by both series. So for someone like her to have been like a character on like a fairly not that well known soap outside of Scotland, like River City, to leading what looks like quite an expensive drama period series. It's, you would think, well, that's somebody that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because she's obviously going to be maybe a bit like a Catherine Kelly, because she's obviously, or a Sarah Lancashire in years to come, and she's just, for whatever reason, she said it's not for her.
Oh, she won a Scottish BAFTA for the first series.
Yeah,
she won a Scottish BAFTA for Best Actress, and she, could have won it for Series 2 if it wasn't for the reappearing and disappearing Spot. But, how do you go from winning a Scottish BAFTA to just being like, actually, I'm just going to pack this in. I'm just going to go off to Canada and fuck it, have kids. Yeah. Like, fair play to her, though, as long as she's happy. But you're right, to go from having been in River City and a Jerry Butler film, and then being the lead in 2 series, and she is the lead, in the 2 series of this, up against some fucking heavyweights, like David Morrissey and Catherine Kelly and
Peter Capaldi and
up against some absolute heavyweights and holding her own, and acting up against like Ron Donaghy and stuff. Like, it's fucking and David Heyman, Jesus.
I know.
Yeah, but hey, good luck to her if she's decided that that's, it's not what she wants to do. But hey, yeah.
What to do? Well, this is it, and good luck to her. We certainly I had a wee look at her Instagram when I connected. I started following her when we did the first series, and she looks like she's loving life in Canada.
So obviously, neither of us have read the books, so we're going to, though. Like,
yes,
once we've finished. I'm currently reading Caledonia Road at the moment. I'm hoping to finish it by the time we get to Glasgow, so I can purchase the new Irvine Welsh and read that. And then I might read the Paddy Meehan novels, because I don't think there's any reference, from what I've looked up of the Thoroughburn, I don't think there's any reference to her being pregnant, so I don't know if they just stuck that in for the TV show.
Maybe. And I was thinking there when you were talking about the sister's storyline, I was thinking, I wonder if that is followed further in the next book. If like her going off to be a nun becomes important to the plot of the last book or something.
Yeah,
Wonder.
Possibly. So yeah, I think I think I might need to read them to find out what happens. Because I say there's only one book left, and we're never going to get the TV series. So I think it might be a good plot. I will read that. I'll report back and let you know if you don't read it.
Yeah, no, I will read them. I'm reading the Satsuma Complex at the moment, Bob Mortimer's book.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so good. It's so good. His new one's out 1st of August.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a follow-up. I think it's called the Aubergine Complex or something.
Right.
But it is a direct follow-up from the Satsuma Complex. So
right, okay.
I can't wait to read that. It's about Gary and his adventures.
I just started it the other day because I reread The Blade Artist last week.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't read it for a while, and I just felt like being in the sort of Trainspotting universe for a few days.
Yeah.
Still, it's a good book, The Blade Artist. I think I'm not sure it gets the respect it deserves. It's actually rereading. It's really good.
I kind of want to reread that, actually. I mean, they are making that into a series, but I don't know, it's kind of stalled. But Carlisle's on board, Welsh is on board. Like, I don't know why it's stalled, but
I think he's got the boy Dean Kavanagh to write with him that he wrote the crime series with. Like Irvine Welsh and Dean Kavanagh wrote the series together. So I think they've got. I think he's got Kavanagh involved as well. So
I wonder if they'll maybe because obviously the new book that comes out in a couple of weeks' time is obviously the end of the crime trilogy. Yeah. So I wonder if they'll do the TV series of that, finish that off, and then maybe do The Blade Artist. Because, I mean, they'll obviously do Series 3 of Crime. I mean, I hope they do, because I want to see Joanna Vanderham on my screen again very soon. Yeah. All
right. Well, as we've just spent the last few minutes talking about Bob Mortimer and Irvine Welsh, I wonder if perhaps it's time to put the second series of The Field of Blood through our Swally Awards.
Okay, Greg. What have we got first?
So the first award, as always, the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. There's only really two. There's the kind of working men's club where David Heyman is getting ready to do his little rally where McVie and me, and then there's a press bar. And for my money, the press bar all day.
Literally in my notes, I have written press bar, yes please.
Yes.
It reminds me of the grill in Aberdeen. In a way. So yeah, press bar all day long, without a doubt.
Okay, next one then. The James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish. No shortage of choices here. I was torn between Donaghy and Pettifer. And even though, I mean, it's basically a cameo, really, isn't it? For Donaghy, he's only in a couple of scenes, and even for Heyman, it's really a cameo. It's not, I had to go with Donaghy.
I was between Costello or Pettifer, but yeah, I think I'd give it to Pettifer probably. Yeah,
I feel like we've given it to Costello quite a few times, and the thing is, Pettifer and Donaghy have a Wikipedia page. Costello still does not have a Wikipedia page. Okay, and then the next award then is the Jake McQuillan Your Teazoot Award. What did you pick here?
I mean, it has to be Paddy Lamping Lachlan with a steel pipe.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah. Sorry, Lafferty. Why have I written Lachlan? I did have earlier David Morrissey getting lamped with a baseball bat
I forgot about that.
Back of the legs, but
Yeah, his tea was definitely out. And then, obviously, his tea was all the way out after he got shot in the head. Next one then, Ewan McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. No gratuitous nudity, but if you were to be a stickler, you could do what I did and write car shag.
Yeah, but you don't see anything, so...
No, I know. Okay. The next one I struggled a bit with because... So it's the Frank Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing. Now, because it's the BBC, 9 o'clock, 2013, there's not really any... There's no F-bombs, is there? Did I miss an F-bomb?
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
The best I've come up with, because I know we've kind of had this discussion on the last few episodes that it's an F-bomb or a C-bomb for you in terms of gratuitous swearing. So the best I've come up with was when George says to Paul Nielsen, that is a blatant bastarding lie.
Yeah. McVie does have some good lines in this. So he does. And I wonder, obviously, Ford Kiernan, very well-established comedy performer and actor. I wonder if they maybe had license to a wee bit of ad-libbing, because there was probably a wee bit of... It was just that that you mentioned earlier when he says, I've woken up gay. There's that humour, that sort of fun, that kind of humour rings of chewing the fat and still game.
Chewing the fat, yeah. I'm so drugged up, I've woken up gay.
Next one then, archetypal Scottish moment.
Again, I struggled with this, but I went with there's a wee flash of the Iron Brew clock.
The sign, on Hope Street. Yeah.
It's either that or the lads sharing a bottle of VAT 69.
Yep. I had supporting the miners. Something awfully Scottish about that. Everybody, when I was a kid, everybody supported the miners. You know what I mean? Regardless of what they did for a living or whatever. So, and then lastly, Sean Connery Awards. Who wins the series for you?
Heyman nearly steals it for his cameo because he's so fucking good. But didn't even really properly speak about him. He is so good in his 2-3 minutes. Ford Kiernan kind of wins this for me because he's so good, but it has to go to Jade Johnson because it is her show, effectively. Yeah,
I've written Jade Johnson as well. I think, we mentioned earlier, McVie is maybe he's a nicer character in this series than he is in the last one, and there's some nice moments between him and Jade Johnson. Not least the scene in the hospital, but just in general, and he plays it really well. I think Kiernan was on a break from, this was like when Still Game was on hiatus, wasn't it?
It was.
Try to do different things, and I kind of feel a wee bit sorry for Ford Kiernan because I know that and Greg Hemphill actually too, because both of them have really tried to kind of push on. Like Greg Hemphill auditioned for the part of Scotty and J.J. Abrams' Star Trek sort of reboot and stuff, and Ford Kiernan's got a literally blink and you'll miss it scene in Gangs of New York and stuff. So, they've always I don't know if they still are now, but certainly when they were younger actors, they always trying to push to do something more, and it's never really worked out for them. And now Chewing the Fat's come to an end, and I don't know. Greg Hemphill's doing that wild swimming series with his wife, isn't he? That Frankie Boyle was making fun of in the Here Comes the Guillotine podcast a few weeks ago. Well, he wasn't making fun of the programme. I wouldn't say making fun, making light, I would think. Because he certainly wasn't critical of what they were doing, but kind of poking fun. Maybe it's a better way to put it. But I think it's Jade Johnson's show just confounds the mystery of why she's never kind of built on that early success, but as long as she's happy, she can always come back to it one day. Anyway, so that was Series 2 of The Field of Blood.
It was, and that was my choice, Greg. So it is your choice on what we're going to be covering on the next episode of The Culture Valley. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be looking at next time?
So we've mentioned over the last few episodes how we're getting together in Scotland next week, and one of the things we're going to do when we're there is we're going to catch up with fellow podcaster Ali from Scots Way Hey podcast. So way back when we did the Scottish podcast collaboration at the end of 2022, Ali had given us some recommendation, and so far I think we've only covered one of his recommendations, which was the Jet Li Danny the Dog movie, which we did back maybe about 3 months ago. So I've picked a film that Ali recommended. Normally it's a sort of film that we would do at Halloween, but I thought, well, we're going to be seeing Ali, so let's pick it. So I've picked Neil Marshall's, I think his follow-up to Dog Soldiers, Doomsday, starring a plethora of Scottish talent such as Bob Hoskins, Malcolm McDowell, Adrian Lester, Sean Pertwee, but also it's got Martin Compston is in there,
okay.
and I'm sure if I click on the IMDb, there'll be a lot more sort of Scottish actors in smaller parts that haven't made the Wikipedia page. So that's what we'll be speaking about on the next episode.
Doomsday. Okay, great. I've never seen it. I'm aware of it, but I've never actually seen it. But yeah, I look forward to watching that on the next episode. Wonderful. All right, cool. All right, okay. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. You can get in touch with us on email. We are available on cultureswally@gmail.com, and you can message us with any recommendations, anything you'd like us to cover, or any news stories you've seen, just drop us a line and say hello. You can follow us on Insta @CultureSwallyPod, or you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, @SwallyPod. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
We do. You can catch us at cultureswally.com. There's links to all our episodes, articles about Scottish media, Sean Connery. So come and get the old visit rate up and give us a click.
Wonderful. Well, have a lovely evening, Greg, whatever you're up to. And I'm off to go and see Val and Sebastian. Very excited.
Enjoy. And you can tell us all about it on the next... Well, you can tell this is about it in the next episode, but you can tell me about it next week when I see you in Edinburgh.
Well, we're recording before we meet up
we
in Edinburgh. Yeah. So, yeah, we're banking an episode before we meet up in Edinburgh, and then we'll, record afterwards, and I'll look forward to recording that one with you, because you can tell listeners about your birthday present, which you're going to love. All right, okay. Right, till next time.
Till next time.
Well, enjoy the taste of victory, Meehan, because if you do have a career left after this, getting yourself up the duff will surely kill it.
What?
Sorry, darling, but you're either bulimic or you're pregnant.
No, it's too soon, isn't it?
Depends when you ovulate.